prosecutor has officially declared former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta a suspect in 4 high-profile corruption investigations, including cases related to the National Cathedral Project, Strategic Mobilization Limited, and 2 other cases.
In any case, the purported medical letter transmitted through his lawyers to the OSP did not state so or demonstrate so. The OSP is unconvinced that the purported medical letter transmitted by Mr. Ofori-Atta through his lawyers to the OSP represents a medical report to the effect that Mr. Ofori-Atta is incapacitated or is so sickly and invalid to the extent that he is physically unable to return to the jurisdiction without imperiling his life. No serious law enforcement agency, and certainly not the OSP, will be convinced that the purported medical letter stops it from demanding the physical appearance of Mr. Ofori-Atta before it in the described circumstances. We are of the firm conviction here that this is only a ruse employed by Mr. Ofori-Atta in aid of his intention to avoid returning to the jurisdiction and to personally answer questions in respect of the investigations. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers wanted to know, and they stated that they were informed by the household of Mr. Ofori-Atta that in the morning of Tuesday, 11 February 2025, that is yesterday, 12 men comprising 1 police officer, 4 military men, and 7 other men in plain clothing visited Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and that by threat of force, they were able to enter Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and they undertook an exercise purporting to be a search of every room, office, gym, and other spaces in the house. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers then inquired if the OSP could confirm that the actions of the 12 men were the instance of the OSP so as to enable them to decide if a complaint to the police would be unnecessary. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers then prayed for a prompt response from the OSP to prevent imposter action. We are now responding promptly, and we have chosen the course of answering Mr. Ofori-Atta's inquiry publicly at this briefing, considering the circumstances surrounding the purported raid at Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, media reportage of the purported raid.
Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dr. Dominic Ayena has categorically denied allegations that President John Dramani Mahama interfered with the discontinuation of the high-profile cases involving key figures facing criminal charges. Dr. Ayena has faced criticism for dropping cases against officials and associates of the previous Mahama administration. Despite these criticisms, Dr. Ayena maintained that the President Mahama did not influence a decision to discontinue these cases. He emphasized that the President has not interfered in the decision-making process, and those who claim otherwise should hasten slowly.
I wish to make it abundantly clear that I did not take these decisions lightly. As I indicated above, I consulted widely and reviewed the files diligently before coming to a decision on each of the cases. You would note that in some cases, such as the Snake case and the banking cases, I withdrew the charges against some of the accused persons, while others are still under consideration. I am keenly aware of the need to balance the public interest, in this case, against the interests and rights of the accused persons. Also, as Attorney General, I take absolute responsibility for all the decisions so far taken. I am not under any instructions or pressure to discontinue any case or to bring charges against anyone. Those who are in a haste to tag His Excellency the President of the Republic as a clearing agent should hasten slowly, because he is not responsible for prosecutions and has not directed me to drop any case. Moreover, with the exception of one charge of bribery in the Opuni matter, in respect of which, no evidence was laid, none of the persons affected by my decision so far has looted state resources. There is a gulf of difference between the offense of causing financial loss to the state or misapplication of state funds and the offenses of bribery, corruption, or that of using public office for private gain. In the latter offenses, the individual charged can be accurately labeled as looters. In the former, it will be thoroughly unfair and actually defamatory to label the accused persons who have, as people who...
Well, if you have school children and probably you are preparing to mark this year, the Independence Day, please hold on for me, because the administration of President John Dramani Mahama will scale down this year's Independence Day celebration and moving the parade to the seat of government, Jubilee House, as a cost-cutting measure. Addressing the media in Accra, the Minister of State for Government Communications, Felix Kwasi Fusu, stated that the regional rotational celebration has been paused as the 2023 event cost the country 15 million Ghana cedis.
A significant ceremony at the presidency, and this will ensure that we minimize the often huge financial implications that come with this celebration. For that reason, I am going to announce a series of activities which will be held at the presidency, or if you like, Jubilee House, as it is now called. There is going to be a military guard of honor that will be reviewed by His Excellency the President. There will also be a cultural performance by 2 groups of basic school pupils. And then what we consider to be an impactful poetry recital by a senior high school student. Chiefs, religious leaders, basic, secondary, and tertiary students, traders, political party representatives, and other sections of society will be in attendance. This event will be complemented or will be heralded by the President's ceremonial address, which then allows him to speak to the nation in a way that draws attention to the significance of the day. Now, this has become necessary once again because of the need to scale back on the escalating costs.
If your school children watching me this morning preparing to march on the 6th of March 2025, then I am pretty sorry, because the Independence Day celebration is going to be observed at the presidency. President John Dramani Mahama has directed the National Investigation Bureau to immediately conduct an investigation into the operations of the National Service Authority following the discovery of 81,885 suspected ghost names on its payroll. In a press statement issued by the presidency on February 12th, it noted that the discrepancies were identified after head count of active National Service personnel initiated by the Minister for Finance as a prerequisite for clearing allowances arrears dating back to August 2024. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has tasked the new management of the National Service Authority to implement urgent reforms to establish adequate control and prevent the reoccurrence of ghost names on the payroll. To the lawmaking chamber, the Ashanti Regional Caucus of the minority in Parliament calls for swift action against those responsible for the recent violence that erupted during the Council of State election in the Ashanti region, led by the Member of Parliament for Asante Mampon Kwekua Prechim. The caucus has condemned the violence and is demanding justice. The caucus is urging authorities to take immediate action to bring the perpetrator to book and prevent future occurrence.
To stand before you here today with a deep sense of duty and outrage over the violent, disgraceful events that unfolded yesterday at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council during the counting of the votes of the Ashanti Regional Representative to the Council of State. In an outrageous act of lawlessness, known NDC thugs, led by one Ofuribodu, alias Zuba, a rumored nominee for Kumasi Mayor, stormed the counting center and forcefully snatched the ballot box in a desperate attempt to disrupt the process. At the time of this shocking attack, Nana Nkansa Bodu, one of the contestants, had secured 49 out of the 86 votes, putting him in a commanding lead. Realizing that their preferred candidate was losing, this Zuba guy and his thugs violently intervened, halting the democratic process and plunging the election into chaos. We ask, is this the democracy that Mahama-led government claims to uphold? Is this what the NDC means by governance? We will not sit idly whilst the will of the people are subverted through violence and intimidation. As the Ashanti Regional Caucus of Parliament, we make the following urgent demands. 1. Immediate arrest and persecution of the perpetrators. The individuals behind this shameful act, including Zuba, must be arrested immediately and made to face the full rigors of the law. Ghana is governed by laws, not thuggery. We demand justice, and we demand it now. Number 2, swift resumption of the electoral process. The Electoral Commission must ensure that this election is concluded transparently and fairly so that the true choice of the people prevails. We will not allow intimidation to dictate election results in the Ashanti region.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission has announced a rerun of the Council of State election for the Northeast and Ashanti regions on Monday, February 17. The decision to rerun the election in the Northeast region, according to the EC, is due to the tie between two candidates where each of them had 6 votes. However, the rerun, which will be conducted in the Ashanti region, was triggered by the chaos that erupted during the counting of the ballot, leaving the process incomplete. In a statement issued on Monday, February 12th, the EC confirmed that it had written to the Ghana Police Service and copied the National Election Security Task Force to strengthen security at the election venues to prevent any disruptions. Away from that, the Member of Parliament from Priors to Davis and Opoku has written to President John Dramani Mahama expressing concerns over the recent directive that, according to him, amounts to political purges in the public service. The MP argued that the directive, which includes the dismissal of a director at the National Pensions Regulatory Authority and the indefinite suspension of the newly recruited employees at the Ghana Water Limited, are unfair and undermine the rule of law. Davis and Opoku is therefore calling on the President to review the directive and ensure that employment decisions are based on merit rather than political considerations. He also wants the government to engage in a consultative dialogue with stakeholders to develop employment policies that uphold institutional integrity. If you just joined the bulletin, this is Wake Up News on Globetvgh. I am AWUSI. We take a breather here, but when I come back, motorbike and private riders in Techimani in the Bono East region are divided over the government decision to license motorbike for commercial purposes. Details wrap shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back to the program. We kindly remind you that the bulletin is streaming all across the world on Facebook at Globetvgh. You can join us with your thoughts and comment this morning. The motorbike and private riders in Techimani in the Bono East region are divided over the government decision to license motorbike for commercial purposes. On one hand, some riders see this as a welcoming move, citing the potential for job creation among youth due to the affordability of motorbikes. Others oppose the decision, arguing that it will lead to more accidents and fatality due to poor road condition already posing a significant risk.
The legalization of motorbikes for commercial purposes is in fulfillment of a campaign promise by President John Dramani Mahama's government. The government aims to ensure that motorbike riders strictly adhere to road safety regulations to reduce motorbike-related crashes and deaths. As part of the realization of this objective, the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nekbe, has directed the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority to commence the registration and licensing process with immediate effect.
Remember that we made a campaign promise that we're going to regularize the use of motorcycles for commercial purposes. It is starting from today. We are getting to see what we will do to do a revision of the law to allow them to operate commercially. So if you've seen the ministry and myself here with the chief executive, it is on that line that I am coming for us to sit.
Meanwhile, in Techiman, motorbike and Pragya riders are divided over the government's decision. On one hand, some riders see this as a welcome move, citing the potential for job creation among youth due to the affordability of motorbikes.
With the motorbike, it's very fast, easy, and it's affordable as well. So I think it's a good idea. I decide to most of the young ones, when they are done with the SHS, they don't like to continue school. So with this one, it will help, and I think it will create more jobs for them as well. People have a very much
On the other hand, riders like Amiel strongly oppose the decision, arguing that it will lead to more accidents and fatalities, particularly in Techiman, where poor road conditions already pose a significant risk. Dan Kelvin, another rider, suggests that stricter licensing regulations are needed, where only expert riders are issued licenses to prevent accidents and ensure road safety.
The DVLA to approve a person to use a motorbike or a tricycle or whatever, the DVLA must to approve, find out that the person is expert. If the person is expert, the person can use the motorbike. But in case the person is not expert, the person can cause a lot of damages, like accidents and then knocking down of people.
Do you also support the legalization of Okada in the country? You can share your thoughts and comment via social media handles, especially on Facebook at Globetvgh. Still in the Bono East region, the regional minister Francis AWUSI has made a reassuring commitment to those affected by the recent fire outbreaks in the region. He has pledged to implement measures that will prevent similar incidents in the future.
During his visit to the Techiman market on Wednesday, Regional Minister Francis AWUSI unveiled plans to station a fire tender at the market center, which will undoubtedly enhance the region's firefighting capabilities. Additionally, he aims to boost security levels to deter any potential future occurrences. This commitment from the minister demonstrates his dedication to ensuring safety and well-being of his citizens, particularly traders.
We are going to do our best. One of their requests that came has to do with the number of fire hydrants, and I'm going to sit with the respective department to make sure we increase the fire hydrants so that water will be available to help the situation. Secondly, we also advise them to be united because together we progress. And aside that, we also assured them that they should be careful of fires. We know the extent fire can bring a disaster.
The minister further assured his readiness to work tirelessly to improve the region's prospects and has urged residents to rally behind him to make Bono East one of Ghana's most developed regions. The regional fire commander, ACFO2 Naomi Dubia, advised market women to avoid activities that prompt fire occurrences in the market.
The errors of people that cause the various fires that we've encountered. And we advise the public to be more cautious about fire safety measures so that there wouldn't be any fire at all for us to come and extinguish them.
The traders, for their part, expressed gratitude to the minister for his support. They further urged the minister to make provisions to help them recover from their losses.
We boy my sister will be 500. You check it, be 600. Then I'm not boy a ding. It's in Banner to say about what you and who was to say to make a last 5 years. And she said, this year so as Rashi. Dear Koto Slepamucho, no Maya Yakasian so dear neighbor. Yania so papa paya damase. Until you say Fata Mabu say Boyama in the Yoga de Nacoson. Yapamucho Simon so when you may.
It's in Pinyofono as a da and a bomb by a sromo. Kwa ebefa so a ebebo apatana animanimu ya ni bebite apate yasia ni diga kwa mefa so mobo apatano e dia amaya ebenya bebi atena aton ye niema die srempe nyomfo no animanimu ya omommo e because ebi wura match mu an wura match mu so nsu tablum na ya de ye wura ntie srempe nyomfo no omonhwe na omommo se de be ya ma no so benya bebi aden atena aton omniema.
Ahabandron Kabumuko, a group based in Techiman in the Bono East regional capital, is urging the government to keep Dr. Michael Tremontaine as the registrar of the Traditional Medicine Practice Council. They believe Dr. Tremontaine has made significant progress since taking office in 2024, including reducing fake licenses and introducing digital transformation.
According to the Habandron Kambumuku ANC, the calls for the removal of the Registrar of Traditional Medicine Practice Council are allegedly motivated by politics, and the association strongly opposes such calls. At a press briefing on February 11, PRO for the association, Jibril Al-Hassan, maintained that Dr. Michael Tremontaine has implemented significant reforms since assuming office in 2024, including reducing fake licenses, digital transformation, website development, and others.
Dr. Tremontaine has introduced measures to keep the operation of fake license holders, ensuring that only qualified practitioners provide traditional medicine service. The register has leveraged digital technology to reduce corruption and increase transparency within the council. The register has ensured that revenue are properly counted for and channel into government accounts.
The association argues that the office of the registrar is not a political position and should not be subjected to change in government, and has urged the government to maintain Dr. Tremontaine.
The press Abandon Kabumko emphasized that the office of registrar is not a political position and should not be subject to change in government. The organization urged the government to maintain Dr. Michael Tremontaine in his position, citing the significant progress made under his leadership.
They also call on council members to support the registrar's efforts to promote traditional medicine in Ghana instead of attacking his good works.
We call on the council members to desist from attacking the good work of Dr. Tremontaine and instead focus on supporting his effort to promote traditional medicine practice in Ghana.
Similar calls for the removal of Dr. Michael Tremontaine were made by the Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine Practitioners Association during the previous government.
In the Bono region, child labor has been deemed a grave violation of children's rights and a serious threat to Ghana's future, according to Raphael Globetvgh, the chief executive of the Global Media Foundation. Urgent collective action is needed to eliminate child labor in Ghana's cocoa sector.
Addressing child labor in the cocoa sector requires a multifaceted approach. We must, 1, strengthen enforcement of child protection laws and policies. 2, empower home-growing communities with education and alternative livelihoods. 3, hold companies accountable to ethical sourcing practices. And 4, raise awareness about the long-term consequences of child labor. Through Right for Cocoa, we will work with government agencies, civil society organizations, traditional leaders, and the private sector, and international partners to build a sustainable cocoa industry that respects the right of every child.
Empowering communities to safeguard children in cocoa farming deeply resonates with the Ghana Education Service policies and the Directorate's vision of equal access, quality education for every child, inclusivity, and the protection of children from any form of exploitation. We acknowledge that child labor is a pervasive issue that affects a greater percentage of children in Ghana, thus derailing and sabotaging the efforts of GES in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goal 4, which aims to provide all children and young people with quality education, reduce inequalities, and support the reduction of disparities, and grow up in cocoa growing areas. Your intervention, therefore, could not have come at a more fortunate time.
The idea is also proud of who say problem kesini enye ekuyafona wo around na biye gugu na ya na omoma obuwo sa problem mu so that go na onko committee no do bi wa ofri ba bi na aba bi ofri sa fulani for bi do ba okona otutu sa ko fo bi mu Lagos farms in one but it's the farmers children but you are of ba bi na aba so bi pa obaye no ipra bi o wonda kwani go together into no we no oja pa na but I can tell you with facts that the farmers are now enlightened. They ensure that their children are in school and work.
More local and international stories available on our website at globetvgonline.com. Coming up in sport, the Ghana Football Association and all 18 Ghana Premier League clubs have agreed to adopt enhanced match-day safety and security protocols to curb violence and ensure fund safety details. Coming up, don't go anywhere. In sport this morning, in a move to curb violence and ensure fund safety, the Ghana Football Association and all 18 Ghana Premier League clubs have agreed to adopt enhanced match-day safety and security protocols. This development comes after a meeting on February 6th where Asante Kotoko SC and Accra Folk SC submitted a proposal for review, which were considered alongside other suggestions. The new protocols will establish a sports police unit with the Inspector General of Police announcing the inclusion of sports security training in the police training academy school manual. Regional sports officers oversee sports policing within their regions, collaborating with the GFA to ensure safety during match days. The GFA has engaged with various stakeholders, including Malta Guinness Women's Premier League clubs, Access Bank Division 1 League clubs, and Premier League clubs to ensure a comprehensive approach to safety and security. The Executive Council of the GFA considered the first draft of the Enhanced Matchday Safety and Security Protocols on February 9, 2025. The protocols will be strictly enforced with sanctions applied to ensure safety at match venue. The GFA reminds participants, supporters and stakeholders that criminal acts at football matches will be handled by the Ghana Police Service. On the international front, James Tarkowski last in an incredible 98th minute equalizer at Everton.
The final ever Merseyside derby.
Cat Vincent Fogo and the rest of the sports crew at 9 a.m. with Sports Arena and 4 p.m. for Sports premiere here on Globe Television. We take a recap of our top stories. Office of the Special Prosecutor has officially declared former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta suspect in 4 high-profile corruption investigations. And President Mahama scaled down this year's Independence Day celebration, moving the parade to the Jubilee House as a cost-cutting measure. Our motorbike and private riders in Techiman, the Bono H region, are divided over the government decision to license motorbikes for commercial purposes. You also heard in sport where the Ghana Football Association and all 18 Ghana Premier League clubs have agreed to adopt enhanced matchday safety and security protocols to curb violence and ensure fan safety. And that'll be for the bulletin on behalf of the entire production team led by Alexander Hineja and directed by Bella Tete. Many thanks for watching. I am Bright AWUSI. Have a good morning and enjoy the rest of our program. See you tomorrow. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.